Is going through a lot of change right now. First, we're dealing with the coronavirus.
Then protests started over the shooting of Breonna Taylor. We know the acting chief met with some of the live streamers and protesters today. To tackle all of these issues, we have Mayor Fisher joining us now live in the studio. Mayor, we thank you for being with us.
Good being with y'all.
And first tonight, Mayor, can you give us your reaction to that meeting with the chief and protesters, and what are you hoping came out of that?
I think it's always great when people get together to communicate. You've got to have that basic relationship going. And we've been talking with the protesters since the beginning of this, now some 5 weeks or so ago. And it kind of goes at peaks and valleys and is at different points. So today was a lot about, what are the guidelines? How can we make sure that we're ensuring peaceful protest takes place, but being also clear that if illegal activity takes place, that law enforcement is going to take place with that. So everybody agrees those should be the guidelines. So it was just discussing more of that, making sure lines of communication are open, not just for downtown, but also with some of the caravanning that's taken place. Caravannings are legal. You can do that, but they've got to be done safely. They've got to be done legally, and if not, action needs to be taken on that.
Do you have any update on the timing of the Breonna Taylor investigation? Do you anticipate any more internal action against the other officers involved?
I wish I could say something there. Obviously, the case is with Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General. He'll be deciding if any criminal charges will be filed. My focus has been to make sure that the truth gets out, and that's why we asked the AG, the U.S. Attorney, the FBI to also look at this case. So people should agree we want the facts. Now, whether or not everybody's going to agree on the outcome, we don't know about that. So it's in the hands of the Attorney General now.
And early on, Mayor, one of the first things that you did in this investigation was fire Chief Conrad. Can you give us an update on the search for a new chief?
Yeah, amazingly, we've had over 9,000 responses so far to the questionnaire that's online and via phone also, in terms of what types of qualities do you want to see in a new police chief? What are your suggestions for immediate, midterm, long-term? So there's great community involvement with that. And then yesterday we announced the firm that's going to be doing a top-to-bottom review of LMPD so we can understand our strengths and weaknesses and opportunities. They'll be looking at things like recruitment, promotion, implicit bias, use of force to make sure that if we're not at best in country, what are those gaps so that we can work to get there?
Let's switch to coronavirus.
Yeah.
You're out in the city just like the rest of us. You know that many people are wearing masks, many people are not wearing masks. Several cities in our region, Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, are making masks mandatory.
Yeah.
Can you do that here in Louisville, you specifically? What has to happen for that to happen? And will you do that? Do you support it?
Right. No, wearing a mask is a no-brainer, okay? We're seeing the power of social distancing to stop the virus from spreading, and just a simple act of wearing a mask can stop the spread by 80% or so. So the governor obviously is strongly encouraging masks, as I am here. He supports stronger local activity if we need to do that. But then the question becomes enforcement, right? We're not going to be arresting people for not wearing masks. You could cite people perhaps, but what we're trying to do is just encourage people to do the right thing, because the facts are, so far compared to other cities our size, we're doing okay. We've got kind of a flat plateau. It can change very quickly. And I can say last week when I was on Bardstown Road late on Saturday night, I saw some activities around the bars that were very concerning to me in terms of people being way too close together. So if you're going out, one, I'd ask you not to, but if you are, please keep the social distancing, wear the mask. How this is going to end up for us with the virus is dependent on how we behave as citizens. And so far, I've got to say, I'm very proud of how our city has done this. So let's just keep that focus, especially now as people are getting together for the July 4th festivities.
Yeah, Governor or Mayor, you kind of mentioned it there. Under the governor's Healthy at Work plan across the state, bars are reopening this holiday weekend. Are you worried about people heading out this weekend?
I am. I mean, bars are opening at now 50% capacity, right? So they had less capacity before. So the more we get more people together in close proximity, the higher the chance of the virus transmitting goes up. So even though you're getting together, stay apart, wear your mask, follow these basics. We know they work. So please just be vigilant. The virus is still out there. Look what's happening in Florida and California and Texas right now. It's getting out of control. We do not want that here. And so far, we're doing a good job.
And in the next 2 months here in Louisville, we are scheduled to host the State Fair, the Kentucky Oaks, Kentucky Derby, U of L football. Kids are heading back to school. Is it irresponsible to open or host these entertainment venues at the risk of making Louisville one of the COVID-19 hotspots across the country and possibly set us back in all the good work that we've done to keep our numbers low?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think those are going to be game time decisions, no pun intended there. But if something really radically changes in terms of the increase of the spread, what we learn about the science that's going to require altering plans for those events, I'm sure we will do that. Science will be the guide.
And Mayor, you signed the new city budget. Do you have any more hope of federal funding?
If you're a mayor, you've always got to have hope. Because the other thing between the pandemic and the marches we didn't mention was the Great Recession. So the single most material item for our budget right now is whether or not the U.S. Senate will decide here, hopefully before they recess the first week of August, what kind of direct aid will be coming to cities and states whose governments basically are underwater right now. If that doesn't happen, there'll be layoffs all across the country. There's already been hundreds of thousands of those. Without strong local governments and strong state governments, the overall economy is not going to come back the way it is. So yes, I'm hopeful, and Senator McConnell, Leader McConnell, understands the importance of stable local and state governments, so I hope we can see his leadership to make that happen.
Mayor, we know that you are the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Can you talk about that group and how it and your role could impact our community?
It provides a tremendous opportunity to work on the issues that are important to Louisville. So when you think about just the things that are taking place now, financial relief for COVID-19, that's a big issue with the Conference of Mayors. Police reform, so that police community legitimacy is top of mind, is a big issue as well. Dismantling systemic racism is also there, and then taking a real hit so that everybody can participate in the economy. So these national issues are local issues, and the more that we can get national action, because that's where the big money is and that's where the big policy changes, the better it will be for our city.
All right, Mayor, we know that you're a busy man. We appreciate you stopping by.
Before you leave, I do have one more question. I wanted to ask you about the numbers that we read earlier in the show today. We said that there are nearly 300 shootings so far in Louisville, a 100% increase over this time last year. 62 people have been killed this year. What can we do to stop those numbers from growing?
Yeah, no, this has been a very violent first 6 months of the year so far, going back to like 2016 or so. The number of guns on the streets obviously is seriously troubling. And what we're seeing is people's kind of inability just to work things out before quickly pulling out a gun to settle a dispute is very troubling. So you put that together, you put together the illegal drug trade together, kind of the effects of poverty that have all this, and it's a real difficult challenge. And we're seeing that in our city, unfortunately, more this year. We're seeing it in other cities around the country, but we got to take care of our local problems also.
All right, Mayor, we appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
Mayor.